This is a one off English video discussing my favorite movie, Donnie Darko. This video it does not only have spoilers, but it is intended not for the regular person, but for those Darko obsessed people who have seen the movie dozens of times. We'll go scene by scene, analyzing uh, everything that happens, and we'll start by the young Donnie Darko waking up on the road. We see a lovely forest, which I'm told is in Los Angeles, although this is supposed to happen in Middlesex, Virginia. He wakes up confused, but he's not scared. He's in fact sleepwalking, as we will learn later in the film. He then smiles because he's not threatened by this sleepwalking. He's a bit of a particular guy, and is familiar with this because it happens often. Then we move to the lovely scene of the bike descent, which is it's very typical and very classic because of the music, which is very important in this film.
I love your precious heart. I, I was standing, you were there. Two worlds collided, and they could never tear us apart. We could live for 1,000 years, but if I hurt you, I make wine from your tears. I told you that we could fly, 'cause we all have wings, but some of us don't know why. I was standing.
Okay, so what did we see here? We saw a very nice bourgeois town, very nice houses, and we saw that Halloween parties coming up. We saw Frank returning from dropping off Elizabeth in the red car, which is incidentally like the first person that he meets in this movie. And then we look at the family. We see Sam, which is just a regular girl. We see Eddie, which is the father, and is a bit of a joker. He's in fact a bit of an iconoclast, just like Donnie is. And we see Elizabeth, which is just a normal teenager, and Rose, which is the mother. She's intelligent, she's cultivated, but quite middle class, frankly. Uh, let's start with the conversation that starts the film, which is the classic "I'm voting for Dukakis."
voting for Dukakis.
Well, maybe when you have children of your own who need braces, and you can't afford them because half of your husband's paycheck goes to the federal government, you'll regret that
My
decision.
husband's paycheck?
Oh.
Anyway, I'm not gonna squeeze one out till I'm like 30.
Will you still be working at the yarn barn? Because I hear that's a really great place to raise children.
That's really funny.
No, I think a year of partying's enough. She'll be going to Harvard next fall.
Mom, I haven't even gotten in yet.
Do you honestly think Michael Dukakis will provide for this country till you're ready to squeeze one out?
Yeah, I do.
When can I squeeze one out?
Not until 8th grade.
Excuse me.
Donnie, you're such a dick.
Whoa, Elizabeth. Little hostile there. Maybe you should be the one in therapy, then Mom and Dad can pay someone $200 an hour to listen to all your thoughts, so we don't have to.
Okay. You want to tell Mom and Dad why you stopped taking your medication?
You're such a fuck ass.
What?
Please.
Did you just call me a fuck ass?
Elizabeth, that's enough.
You can go suck a fuck.
Oh, please tell me, Elizabeth, how exactly does one suck a fuck?
You want me to tell you?
Please tell
We
me.
will not have this at the dinner table. Stop.
What's a fuck ass?
From the get-go, we see we have here a fabulous cast. Actually, Donnie and the Elizabeth are brother and sister in the real life, so you can see that the chemistry is real and it's very well done. I love the I'm all ears gesture that Donnie does. We see the personality of all of them as well. We see that Eddie cannot resist laughing very inappropriately when Sam asks, "What's a fat ass?" And that is consistent throughout the movie. And we'll see the Rose, the mother, is rather ashamed, sincerely, for what's happening. It's just classic. Next one, we're going to see at the details of that rebelliousness that Donnie has, both because he's like that and because he's being forced to take pills, which he resents.
Where do you go at night?
You just get out of my room.
Did you toilet paper the Johnson's house?
Is that what you came in here to ask me?
No.
I stopped rolling houses in the 6th grade, Mom.
What happened to my son? I don't recognize this person today.
Then why don't you start taking the goddamn pills? Bitch.
Next, we all know what happens. Frank wakes up Donnie, goes down the stairs, passes through his father. The static of the TV reflects a little bit the mess in his brain. He's like sleepwalking. Goes to the golf course, and we see the classic image of Frank. But like in many other occasions, here the film goes a little bit short because if you go to the actual script, it's much more interesting. So Donnie hears a voice saying, "Hell of a walk, huh, Donnie? Tonight is very special, Donnie." He says, "What? I've been watching you. Do you believe in God, Donnie? God loves his children, Donnie. God loves you. My name is Frank. I want you to follow me. Why? I'm here to save you. The world is coming to an end. Donnie. Look up at the sky, Donnie. And then delivers the 28 days, etc., etc., etc. By the way, incidentally, this is the birthday of Graham Greene, which we will see is involved in this film later. So, with this more information that the script gives us, we have that dimension of God. We have that he's introducing himself. He's saying that he's Frank. We've got the concept of saving the children, which unfortunately we do not have in the film, even in the director's cut.
No one's allowed for it. This is my house. Said no one's allowed. My house.
Ain't that nice that you can push away a police officer? That reflects on a nicer time and certainly a nice neighborhood. So he has waken up in the golf course. He's gonna see now the jet engine that has fallen on his room, and of course, it's well known, but you should take a look at the FAA officer, which we're gonna see later as the fat guy.
We have arranged for you to stay at a hotel, get some sleep, and we will take.
In the hotel room, Rose and Eddie reminisce a certain Frankie Fiddler. It is not a coincidence that it's called Frank E. That was dead. And they said, well, he was. They explained the story. He was going to a prom, and they were saying that he was doomed. And he says, Jesus Christ, they could have been saying the same about Donnie, but he dodged it. But in the script, it is not. But in the film, he said,
Somebody was watching over you.
next, a little gem called the first bus scene. All-time favorite. Watch the interactions between all the characters. We've got Charita, who is concerned for the well-being of Donnie. Let's say at this stage that she is well, she cares for him, and she's bullied by the two older boys, and ultimately is Donnie that spares her from the bullying. We got a Joni James, who is a classic hyper social girl from suburbia and from this kind of atmospheres. She's the oh my god girl and the Cerrone girl and things like that. And we got the other two teenagers who, being teenagers, they overdo it. And you can see that Donnie is a bit older because he was held back by the burning of a house and legal problems, which we'll learn later on the film. And you can see that age difference because they're like, oh, that's good stuff, referring to a cigarette. And just Donnie just says, well, that's just a cigarette.
Donnie, bye, honey. Donnie. Good luck.
Oh my god. Okay, tell me everything. I'm not allowed to talk about it. My god. Hi, Sharita.
Shut up.
Darko cheats death, huh? You're like a celebrity, man. I've been like calling you like a jillion times. Where you been?
We stayed at a hotel.
Hey, my dad said he saw you at the golf course. You sleepwalking again there, buddy?
I don't want to talk about it.
And now that you're famous, you gotta have a smoke.
What happens if you tell Mom and Dad about this, Sam?
They'll put Ariel in the garbage disposal.
God damn right I will.
So, Brody.
Hey, Sharita, you want a cigarette?
Shut up! Shut up!
Go back to China, bitch.
Just leave her alone.
Some good shit, huh?
It's a fucking cigarette.
One of my favorites, excellent little scene with youth, with color. And we go from awesome to awesome because now comes the Tears for Fears, Head Over Heels song with the Steadicam, in which we will get to know the high school. We're gonna go part by part. First, we're gonna see the uptight and upright nature of Miss Farmer. We see that she's a fan of Jim Cunningham. We see the sensuality of Gretchen. We see the two bullies of the school doing cocaine in the hall, and how Gretchen looks at them and she's not happy with what she's seeing. She comes from a troubled background, which we'll learn later, and she wants a kind of a nicer place. Middlesex is an upgrade for her. Let's watch that. Next, we see Jim Cunningham. We see Miss Farmer, who absolutely adores him. We meet the discombobulated moron that is Principal Cole, and who reflects a little bit the ridiculous adult world that that is both prey for Cunningham and against which Donnie shall revolt. And also we meet the two good professors, let's say, and look at how they look at Jim and at the ridiculousness of the situation. Now comes the first classroom scene, the one of Graham Greene's The Destructors, which is a short story that both reflects on Donnie's previous history of burning a house and, by his own words, a metaphor of renewal by burning the old and wicked, which is what happens. I also believe this tale is important to Richard Kelly, the director himself, not only because of the date of the end of the world is Graham Greene's birthday, but also because in an interview he says that this tale inspired Donnie Darko, the script. When we see in that scene Gretchen Ross sitting next to Donnie, we hear the Gretchen Ross song, which is just perfect because it gives you an eerie sound, an eerie feeling, letting you know that she's already manipulated living, aided by another manipulated living in this scene, Miss Pomeroy.
Sit next to the boy you think is the cutest.
Quiet! Oh my
Let her choose. Joni, get up.
She could not sit anywhere else. He couldn't be more happy. Now, moving to the next scene, the car scene, again, we see there's a dichotomy between the adult world in Eddie's political news radio choice and Donnie's musical one. Also reinforced by the absurdity of the adult world of not being able to divulge information that it's not known. We got an introduction to Donnie's psychiatrist, Dr. Thurman, and we got to the moment in which they almost hit Miss Sparrow, Grandma Death, and she tells him the phrase. Now we go to the first scene on Dr. Thurman's office, which I believe in the film it does a disservice to the story because it is better in the script, in the original script, because it gives more information. So it goes something like, "So I met a new friend. His name is Frank. Frank. He saved my life. How so? Do you watch the news? I don't have television. A jet engine fell on my house, landed on my bed while I was talking to Frank on the golf course." Dr. Thurman tries to see if he's telling the truth. He says, "I'm not kidding." Concerned, Dr. Thurman leans closer. And she asks, Frank instructed you to get out of bed just before this happened? He said to follow him. Follow him where? Into the future. Then he said that the world was coming to an end. Do you believe the world's coming to an end? No, that's stupid. Okay, so you'll recognize some of those phrases from the movie, but I think that we're missing something here in the movie because he's explaining to her that Frank took him out of bed to spare him from death, which I think it's relevant.
To be controlled by fear.
Pay close attention. You could miss something.
Hello, my name is Jim Cunningham, and welcome to Controlling Fear.
This is the attitudinal beliefs presentation scene, which is based on actual crap that was going on at the time at the American educational system, which Richard Kelly recalls in some interview. At the end of the scene, Frank whispers to Donnie, "Pay close attention, you could be missing something," signaling something's already fishy with all of this, apart from the nonsense that awakes Donnie's rebelliousness. But also, Jim touches a boy in the film, and there's something weird with all of this. Then we go to the scene in which Donnie floods the school, and which also tell us that he already has supernatural powers because the axe. And then the scene in which he realizes that that wasn't a dream, that he might be sleepwalking, but he was certainly himself when he was doing that, which is the second bus scene, which is as awesome as the first one, and it parallels the first one.
The prince was led into a world of strange and beautiful magic. Wow.
The Last Unicorn by Samantha Darko. There was once a unicorn named Ariel.
Tommy! You wrinkled it.
It's not wrinkles, Sam. Just, flattening a book or something. It's almost 7:45. The bus should have been here like 20 minutes ago.
Maybe Martha Moo finally went nuts and hijacked the bus.
You know, there's like this rule. At 7:45, we get to go home.
There's no rule.
Charita, you should go home.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're still here and the bus comes, we're all gonna get in trouble.
Shut up.
Yeah, Dad.
Hey, Porky Pig. I hope you get molested.
Can't believe it. My mom said the school is closed today because it's flooded. No way. Yeah.
Holy shit, that's the best news I've ever heard.
Okay, so this is clearly awesome, but the Porky Pig, I hope you get molested, does not come out of nowhere. Actually, in the original script, there's a moment in which Donnie says, well, Ronald says, there's no rules. Sean says, fuck yeah, there is. If the bus doesn't show up in 30 minutes, you're supposed to go straight home. And then Donnie says, yeah, he's right, because if we keep waiting, some guy in a van might pull up and try to molest us, and then our parents could sue the school board. So it comes out of somewhere, and it keeps pushing the theme of pedophilia, and there's this excellent mirroring of the bullying of Charita. Again, saying, "I hope you get molested," which is already pointing to the theme of the movie. Then we get those cute little scenes of the feces. What are they? Baby mice are, in which Johnny says, "Oh my God, that's so grody," in the script again, like in the first bus scene, which we do not see in the movie. Then we go to the walk scene. In this scene, we see how Gretchen, despite all odds, agrees to go out with Donnie, despite the terrible picking up skills of Donnie, like he's a mature-ish teen. It's hilarious. Starts with one of the most memorable phrases by Seth Rogen, "I like your boobs."
Hey, has anyone ever told you that you're sexy? I like your boobs.
Hey,
Hey,
school's canceled.
do you want to walk me home?
Now starts the most hilarious courtship. First, she judges him a coward.
Don't look so freaked.
I'm not.
Then Donnie misses big time by mentioning his emotional problems, like it's no big deal, and making an enormous faux pas.
So, why'd you move here?
My parents got a divorce. My mom had to get a restraining order against my stepdad. He has emotional problems.
Oh, I have those too. What kind of emotional problems does your dad have?
He stabbed my mom 4 times in the chest.
but she helps him though. She changes the subject, but he gets back into big doo-doo, mentioning his criminal past. which is listening. She wants to hear.
But my mom and I had to change our names. And I thought Gretchen Ross was really cool.
Yeah, I was in jail once. I mean, I accidentally burned down this house. I mean, it was abandoned, but still, I got held back in school and can't drive till I'm 21. But I'm over all that. I'm painting and stuff, writing. I want to be a writer, or maybe a painter. I don't know, maybe both. I'll write a book and draw the pictures. Then maybe people understand me. I don't know, change things.
Classic. I'm an artist. Just look at her face, how she judges him. Nevertheless, she helps him again, trying to fix the conversation, changes the subject, and how does that go?
Donnie Darko. What the hell kind of name is that? It's like some sort of superhero or something.
What makes you think I'm not?
Damn, Donnie, that's lame. She, however, keeps a doubt in her head because of the ex, I guess, and because she is a manipulated living. That's why she doesn't just run away. Changes again the subject. Tries to mention that she needs to go home because the thing is a disaster. And he does a classic mansplaining move to show himself for her, and she gives a devastating soap.
Look, I should go. For physics, Monsonoff is having me write this essay. Greatest invention ever to benefit mankind.
Well, it's Monotov, but that's easy. Antiseptics. Like the whole sanitation thing, Joseph Lister, 1895. Before antiseptics, there was no sanitation, especially in medicine.
You mean soap?
Brutal. He nevertheless hypothetically asks her, and she says yes because that's her role as a manipulated living.
It was a compliment.
Well, look, you want to go with me?
Where do you want to go?
I mean, like, go with me, like, like, that's what we call it here. Going together.
Sure.
Okay, hey, where are you going?
And she departs with an awesome girly exit.
I'm going home.
Next, we go to the conversation that Dr. Thurman, the psychiatrist, has with Donnie, in which she uses that picture to hypnotize Donnie. We know that because of a conversation that is recorded in YouTube between Richie Kelly and Jake Gyllenhaal, in which they explain that. And she fails miserably because she intends to explore the concept of Frank, of who is Frank, because she suspects, I guess, that we're not talking about a psychological issue here, but there might be a real paranormal thing. But she fails because he's just a teenager and he just thinks about sex. So that's what's happening in that scene. Next scene, we see in the blackboard, the police and direct call are trying, principal call are trying to uh, find by the writing who's the culprit of the flooding. And we can see that actually the teacher, Miss Pomeroy, suspects of him, but so does Gretchen. Let's remember that she just learned about his criminal past, and he told her, allegedly joking, that he was some sort of superhero, and that Axe needed some sort of superhero strength, indeed. So let's look at those reactions.
Bylan? Sharita Chen? Donald Darko. Gay Dennis.
The bathroom scene has not much meat to me, plus it is misplaced. It goes with the question that Gretchen poses to Donnie later, in which she asks how he did that to his neck, which in the film you might miss because it's superposed with some of the philosophy of time travel book images. Uh, then comes the Smurf scene, or the beer and pussy scene, in which we got those three boys, the three teenagers shooting and talking about Smurfs. And we there see that Donnie is he gets a bit nerdy, a bit male brain, a bit autistic, we could say, with the Smurfette explanation, and he is a good shooter as well, which is relevant because he cannot miss Frank's eye. Let's watch the end of the scene.
And I hate that Miss Farmer. Such a fucking bitch.
Yeah. How old is Grandma Death?
101. She does the same thing every day. Just walks back and forth the mailbox. Nothing ever in there.
Oh, wait. She goes. She's going back to the box. We may still have mail.
Mail.
Here it is.
And?
This could be it.
Oh!
Oh, no dice,
No.
Grandma. No, sorry.
Someone ought to write that bitch.
Someone oughta indeed, and that will be Donnie later. By the way, Grandma Death is inspired by a real woman that the brother of Richie Kelly used to, with some friends, used to steal her mailbox. So that's a nice touch. Next, the PTA meeting. Notice how Miss Pomeroy ends with whatever fits, which is pretty wild. And it's basically a fight between the Enlightenment teachers and the Puritans. And Miss Pomeroy is inspired by three characters that in Richard Kelly's life that help him appreciate good literature.
Very helpful.
So glad there's a good turnout tonight.
What are you trying to accomplish here?
There was urine and feces flooded in my office.
Whatever fits.
In cooperation with the county police, we have begun an active investigation into the cause of the flooding, and our suspects include several of our own students. Now,
I want to know why this filth is being taught to our children.
Some banned books.
The PTA is here to acknowledge that pornography is being taught in our curriculum.
It's meant to be ironic.
Excuse me, you need to go back to grad school.
Why do you make me flood the school?
They are in great danger.
Kitty, you even know who Graham Greene is?
I think we have all seen Bonanza.
She confuses the author with some actor in Bonanza. Okay, so by the way, the parent-teacher bridge is just amazing. So we hear see the Puritanism and the simple-mindedness taking over the middle-class society of Middlesex. Also intercalated in this scene there's the mirror scene in which Donnie learns that he can treat the mirror like water-like, and that he has powers, and tells him why. In the script says, we're just want to guide you in the right direction. And in the film, they say they are in the great danger, which is children, which I think it's a bit better. And at the end, Frank says, "Do you believe in time travel?" Awesome interpretations in these scenes. The music is "The Manipulated Living," which is a song for this movie, and it's just awesome. The way the two histories are intercalated in here. Let's move to Poetry Day, and let's listen carefully to that poem of Donnie's.
A storm is coming, Frank says. A storm that will swallow the children, and I will deliver them from the kingdom of pain. I will deliver the children back to their doorsteps. I'll send the monsters back to the underground. I'll send them back to a place where no one else can see them. Except for me. Because I am Donnie Darko.
Who is Frank?
A 6-foot-tall bunny rabbit.
Look at the reaction of Gretchen. She's not amused, and she's not amused not because he thinks he's a fool or he's mad. She's not amused because she thinks that he might be right. She suspects that there's something more to it. The poem says, "A storm is coming." Fran says, "A storm that will swallow the children, and I will deliver them from the kingdom of pain. I will deliver the children to their doorsteps. I will set the monsters back to the underground. I will send them back to the place where no one can see them except from me, because I'm Donnie Darko." Now, he already knows, maybe not intellectually, but he certainly has a feeling for it, especially when Frank told him that the children were in danger. He, in a sense, knows his destiny without knowing the details. There's much more to learn, but he's already assuming a possibility of having to save or even to sacrifice himself to save those children, which he does not take lightly. He has a somber face when he's saying that. He's not pleased with it, but he's assuming that that's his destiny already.
So now let us begin lifeline exercise number 1. Please press stop now.
As you can see, the lifeline is divided into two polar extremes, fear and love.
Oh yes, the lifeline exercise. Let's look at the interaction between Miss Farmer and Donnie, which
I'm sorry, Miss Farmer, I don't get this.
Just place an X on the lifeline in the appropriate place.
No, I mean, I know what to do, I don't get this. You can't just lump things into two categories. Things aren't that simple.
The lifeline is divided that way.
Well, life isn't that simple. I mean, who cares if Ling Ling returns the wallet and keeps the money? Has nothing to do with either fear or love.
Fear and love are the deepest of human emotions.
Okay, but you're not listening to me. There are other things that need to be taken into account here, like the whole spectrum of human emotion. You can't just lump everything into these two categories and then just deny everything else.
If you don't complete the assignment, you'll get a 0 for the day.
Donald, let me preface this by saying that your Iowa test scores are intimidating. So, let's go over this again. What exactly did you say to Ms. Farmer?
I'll tell you what he said. He asked me to forcibly insert the lifeline exercise card into my anus.
if you want a confrontation between the youth and the intelligence and the adult world that Donnie Darko denounces and that would eventually allow the pedophilia of Jim Cunningham to happen, is that one. Here we see the whole panoply of reactions and characters. We also learn here that Donnie is actually a very clever, very intelligent boy. And let's look at the exit of Principal Cole's office. How Eddie cannot help but smiling. We see that the rebelliousness of Donnie comes from his father, probably, and how his mother is much more of a social person, and how she realizes that Kitty, his farmer, is just nuts.
My political attitudes are forthright, and if there's a vice presidential candidate worthy of my vote, it has to be Dan Quayle.
Yeah. Nobody cares about responsibility, morality, family values.
Kitty. Excuse us, please. They've suspended him from after-school activities for the next 6 months. Ever since this jet engine fiasco, I honestly don't know what's gotten into
Rose,
him.
I'll tell you this because our daughters have been on the dance team together for 2 years, and I respect you as a woman. But after witnessing your son's behavior this afternoon, I have significant doubts about your... Our paths through life must be righteous. I urge you to go home and look in the mirror and pray that your son doesn't succumb to the path of fear.
Then comes the scene where Dr. Monitov explains Donnie how to theoretically travel through time. Always puzzled me when Charita is listening with the earmuffs, wondering what that meant. At this point, Monitov is also a manipulated living. Uh, since when Donnie mentions the DeLorean, he loses a bit of credibility. You can see it in Monitov's face, but he nevertheless gives him the book. Look at it.
A spacecraft. Like a DeLorean.
Metalcraft of any kind.
You know, I love that movie, the way they shot it. It's so, like futuristic, you know?
Listen, don't tell anybody that I gave you this. The woman who wrote this used to teach here. She was a nun many years before that, but then overnight she just she became this entirely different person. She up and left the church. She wrote this book. She started teaching science right here at Middlesex.
Okay, so we go to the former explanation of the director's cut, in which I think it's necessary to understand the movie. We read incidents when the fabric of the fourth dimension becomes corrupted are incredibly rare. If a tangent universe occurs, it will be unstable, sustaining life for no longer than several weeks. Eventually, it will collapse upon itself, forming a black hole within the primary universe capable of destroying all existence. Okay, so this is the first page, or the first chapter of the philosophy of time travel, which is the particular basis that Richard Kelly created for this film. We get to the scene in which Donnie shares this book with his family. I like particularly the middle class reaction of Rose towards Roberta Sparrow.
She wrote a book.
Grandma Death wrote a book.
That's a terrible nickname.
We almost hit her with the car the other day.
She lives up there in that piece of crap house, and you know she's loaded. She's...
You're right.
I like the little interlude of Donnie and Gretchen jumping outside with Gretchen's song on the background to remind us that they're still dating.
She was just standing there in the middle of the road, frozen. So I got out of the car and I walked over to see if she was okay.
Okay, for the next one, I don't refer to the film, the movie, but to the script, because this one is the one in which Dr. Thurman and Donnie are, as usually, the couch and on the session, and the script says much more. It says, how many times have you seen Frank? 4 times so far. Can anyone see him? I don't think so. It's like TV station, and they're tuned into mine and to no to no one else's. Who is they? Asks. Is Frank part of some larger group? Donnie says, I don't know. Gretchen has a theory that Frank is a sign. I told her I thought it was ridiculous. A sign of whom? Donnie says, I think that Frank wants me to go to this woman, to the Grandma Death. She wrote a book about time travel, etc., etc. She just explains. And then we go back to how does that make you feel? It reminded me of my dog Collie, and that gets back to the what is actually said on the movie. But this part in which Gretchen helps him understand himself and understand Frank and gives him theories makes you aware that Gretchen is much more aware and more actually in tune with him than what you supposed or you infer from the movie. Then goes along all these anxieties about death, and he doesn't want to be alone, etc., etc. But at the end, it says, "I don't want to be alone." And again, it's left out in the movie, but it's relevant. It says, "So does that make me like an atheist?" And Dr. Thurman says, "No, that makes you keep searching," which is important. It's not something irrelevant. I don't know why they left it out of of the of the movie, because it's actually quite relevant. Next is the scene which you can see that Jim Cunningham's nonsense gets permeated through society, start to get acceptance in Middlesex, and that baffles a bit Rose. Look at her face.
And so his tapes have made me realize that for the last 39 years, I have been a prisoner of my own fear.
Fear.
Rose, you have got to meet this Jim Cunningham. I can't believe he's single.
Okay, so let's leave it here for the moment, almost an hour. And there'll be a second part finishing this step by step, scene by scene, deep down analysis of Donnie Darko.